Before we dive into sort of the meat of what we wanted to talk about today, I wanted to pause and take sort of a snapshot in time of what is going on in the insurance marketplace to help frame, sort of why that we brought this topic up, and I think it might be of interest to clients and potential clients. Talking about a little bit about the marketplace, what we're seeing in terms of coverage, pricing, and then, I asked Margaux if it might be helpful to talk a little bit about how we talk to clients about why they might need cyber coverage and how they make independent assessments about that. So I'm wondering if Margaux, if you can give us a little bit of insight into what's going on out there.
Absolutely. So I would say, like the rest of the insurance market right now, we're seeing drastic changes in the cyber insurance placements. And this is because the carriers are making these quick and extreme seven-figure payments on daily and weekly bases. Given the time sensitivity of these ransomware attacks that we're seeing, the claims are being paid out immediately. And this really contradicts with the casualty insurance products we'll see, in which a claim payment is delayed so the carrier can adjust the claim, negotiate with third parties, and then hold on to that premium and make that investment income. So with that, our carriers are really needing this radical change to sustain where the market is. We're seeing rate increases over 25% from many carriers, but also witnessing on very frequently over 50% each year right now from this year. We're seeing increased account scrutiny during the underwriting process. So think about underwriting calls in addition to an application, third-party external network scans to see what's behind the doors, or even ransomware questionnaires and additional questions to truly understand what is occurring at that organization. With all that information, though, we're then seeing the carriers kind of change their terms a little bit. They might use co-insurance to share the risk exposure or have sublimits and increased retentions. We're seeing a lot of declinations come through as these carriers are really just trying to be more selective when it comes to controls such as multi-factor authentication, encryption, backups, business continuity plans, all of these to know if they're tested and are they in place to really help mitigate what a cyber claim could look like. So where are we at in the marketplace right now? We say that the cyber market is about 5 million in premium as of this year, but we expect it to keep growing about 30% on average. However, with that, cybercrime is predicted to inflict damages of more than $5 trillion this year. So there's a huge disconnect there as to the damages that could be caused and the insurance premiums that are being paid. So while a lot of the attacks that we're seeing on businesses are making the headlines of those big firms, it's almost still daily occurrences, though, that those smaller organizations are just as troubling. And it's really important to know that insurance is one way to transfer that risk, but not the end all be all to risk management. So organizations really need to be thinking about their cybersecurity posture to prevent such a catastrophic incident.
It's interesting. One of the things that I think, we get pushback sometimes a lot from organizations who feel like they're not an industry that's typically targeted to the extent there is such an industry anymore. And I think more of our experts will talk about that. But also, the thought process that they could potentially absorb a fraudulent email or a transfer caused by a fraudulent email, things like that. What are some of the things you talk about with clients to figure out whether or not they actually need the coverage to be able to provide some financial backing or some reassurance that they'll have insurance to step up to the plate?
So I would say in the simplest form, if the organization is connected to the internet or just maintains any sort of confidential information of its employees, its vendors, its customers, they should be buying a cyber insurance policy. They might also need a cyber insurance policy if there are contractual requirements or they're worried about their reputation and the possible business income loss they could have. Just making sure that this policy in place to really protect them. And for the cost of a policy, it really is worthwhile given what a claim could cost and the trends that we're seeing. And Bill and Carolyn will be able to talk to you about what they're seeing as well.
Yeah, and some of the things that we've talked about in the past is, can you ask yourself, if you use technology in your everyday organization, could you afford for your entire system and your data to be compromised for 28 hours, 48 hours, 2 weeks, 2 months? Sort of what is that point in which you would not be able to continue your operations if you didn't have access to your data systems? And also, what is the financial payment you could afford to pay in a ransomware attack before it became a crippling cost to your organization. Things like that I think having that mental exercise and going through and making the decision on whether or not you want to procure or need to procure insurance is helpful. So with that, I think, a lot of what you talked about from an underwriting perspective as well, that the carriers are looking for is what makes you a great risk and how can you best position yourself to be a company that, looks attractive to an insurance carrier, but also just is in the best position to prevent an attack in the future. The insurance is sort of the last stop on the train. And so what can we do to give advice to organizations so that they can be in the best position?
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the content, you can click through to the next video right here. Also, if you'd like to stay up to date on more videos like this, like, subscribe, and follow.